Hello, so continuing on this Leetcode contest 117, we are doing the first problem, which is given number 1309, decrypt string from alphabet to integer mapping. So the problem is essentially says that we get a string S that is formed by digits that range from 0 to 9 and hashtag, and we want to map S to English lowercase characters in the following mapping, where A to I are represented by from 1 to 9 respectively, which means A is 1, B is 2, C is 3 until you get to 9, which correspond to I. And then characters J to Z are represented by 10 hashtag to 26 hashtag, which means G is 10 hashtag, K I think is 11 hashtag, and you go all the way until Z, which is 26 hashtag. And so here we want to return the string formed after applying this mapping here, and we are guaranteed that there exists a mapping. And so an example here is with this S, where we get 10 hashtag, which is G, 11 hashtag K, and then 1 is A and 2 is B. And similar thing here, 1 is A, 3 is C, and 26 hashtag is Z, and then here 2 is 25 hashtag is Y. And so you get the idea. Now let's see how we can solve okay, so let's see how we can solve this problem. So the first thing we can try to do is just so the first method that we can solve this with is just we will need a map to tell us what a specific number correspond to in a string, right? So basically, so to do that, I'm just going to get the letters. So the string letters are this, right? So the lowercase letters, this is all of them. But since in the problem it says that we'll start from 1, 1 is mapped to A, so A is not really mapped to 0, so I'm just going to add a space here so that it can get mapped to 1, right? And so once I have the letters, what I'm thinking of doing is just having having a map that kind of represents maps basically 1 to A, maps 2 to B, and then maps 10 hashtag, so all the way until I, until 9 where it maps it to I, and then 10 it maps it to J, and then all the way until Z, which it maps to 26 hashtag where it maps it to Z. So this is the map that I'm trying to construct here with my with this. And so the way I'm going to do it is I need the map itself, so I'm just going to call it M here, and then I'm just going to have a variable to keep track of the length, because I will be traversing the string, so I need the length of the string. And then what I'm going to do is just fill out the map. So I have from the letters here that I'm interested in are from 1 to 27, right, in the index, because I have this empty string here. And so I'm just going to do in range of 1 to 27, right, so that the last one is 26, that's the index of Z. And for each of them, I want to say the key is the number and the value is the letter, right? And so to do that, I'm going to check if it's less than 9, less than 10, that means it's A until I, right? So that's what I'm going to do here. And so for these, I'm going to say the key, I'm going to put the number, and so the key for these is just the string of the number, so it's just str of I, right? And the value is the letter, which means the value at the position I, right? Otherwise, it's one of these 10 hashtag until 26 hashtag, and to do that one, it's just the string of I again, but plus the hashtag, right? So that's what I'm going to do here, and it's equal again to letters at position I, right? Now I have the map like this. Now all I need to do is, for example, here for the string that we have, this one, all I have to do is just essentially look for position, look for if from starting from here, if the position if after 2 positions I have a hashtag, that means I need to consume the entire thing as one of these letters, G to Z. Otherwise, like in the case for 1 and 2, there is no hashtag after that. I have to consider it as one of the letters from 1 to 9. And so, in a way, greedily, I just check if there is the third letter is a hashtag. If it is, I consume all 3 letters as from G to Z. Otherwise, I just take it as from A to I. And so here, to construct the result, so I have result is this, and I starts from 0, so I'll keep traversing the string with this I variable here. And then, so I need to keep going until I traverse the entire string, and I'll just check if I plus 2 is less than n. That means there is a possibility that there is a hashtag, but if it's I plus 2 is bigger than n, like in the case here where I'm at 1, that means I can't have a hashtag, because a hashtag, if it's somewhere, it has to be after 2 numbers, right? And so if it's bigger than 2, that means we are in the case where it's not a number with a hashtag at the end. And now here, maybe also in another case, I have an S like this, where it's let's say 1, 1, 2, 3, maybe hashtag, right? So for this one, I don't want to consume all 3 letters, right? I don't want to consume all 3 letters here, all 3 numbers here. So I need to also check that the third letter is a hashtag, right? So I need to check that the third letter is a hashtag. Only in this case, so in this case, we have one of these XX or 2 numbers and the hashtag here. And so in this case, what I can do is I can just add to the letter, consume. Basically, I need to, in my map here has the representation, the letter that is represented by all these 3 letters. So I can just say, take the map, and using the key, take all from I, right, to I plus 3 to get all 3 letters here, or all 3 characters here. And with that, I will get one of the letters from G to Z, right? And now, since I consumed 3 characters, I need to advance my I position by 3. In the other case, it's very simple. It's one of these letters from A to I, and so in that case, I also have them mapped in this map, so I can just say S of I, right? That's the only, so that's in the case of 1, for example, here. And I can now advance my pointer by 1 because I consumed only 1 letter. And now I have the final result in res variable. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So let's run this. So 2 parts. I first construct the map that does the mapping that the problem describes, and then I traverse the string, and I consume as much as I can, so that if there is a hashtag, I consider it as one of the hashtag mappings. Otherwise, I just use the character, and that's pretty much it. So let's submit and see. Okay, so that passes. So in terms of time complexity, so you can see here we are doing just a constant time because it's just 27 characters, so it's almost over 1 here because it's almost constant. And here we are doing over n time, such that n is the length of the string, and so overall this is over n time complexity. In terms of space complexity, we are using this string here, result, which again, you could say it's constant, but we can also use a list. In that case, it would be O(n), but we are also using the map here, so its time complexity is O(n), right? Space complexity, sorry, is O(n). And that's pretty much it for this solution. A slightly different way we can do this is instead of constructing the map here that we did here manually, well, I could just like forget about this and just write it down manually, like write down the mapping. It's not too much, it's just from 1 to 26, so I could just write down the mapping, and that would be pretty straightforward also. Okay, I forgot to have n. Okay, so this passes, and it will be faster also. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Another way we could think about doing this is, if I go back to the previous solution here, just one little information that may be useful here is that these lowercase letters, you don't have to remember them always, right? Because Python, especially if you are working with Python, because Python has this string library, right? Where you could just say string ASCII lowercase and get them all. So I could also just use that, right? One thing I didn't mention is I'm starting from 1 here because A starts from 1. I left a space here because in the problem it says A corresponds to 1. Another thing we can do is use regular expression instead of doing the matching here ourselves. And so to do that, Python has this library called re, which is for regular expressions, and has this find all function that basically just, you give it a pattern and a string, and it gives you a list of all non-overlapping matches of the pattern that you gave. And so the pattern that I'm looking for here is, I want either 2 digits and a hashtag, which is the case for this 10 hashtag, or just 1 digit, right? But I want this one first. Try to match this one first. So this is the pattern that I want, and with find all I could just do it like this. And so if I use this use this as the pattern for S, it will give me all the matches. And so you can see for S here, which is just the first example we have, it gives me 10 hashtag, 11 hashtag, and 1 and 2. So it does the exact matching that I'm doing here. So now I have the list of matches. I can just use the mapping here to find out what each, so this one with my map, I can find out that it corresponds to G. I can find out that this one corresponds to K. So instead of doing all of this, I could just use find all here. So I could just use find all and give it the pattern and give it the string. So now I have a list of them, right? And so this is the matches, right? And once I have that, I could just map them, right? And so to do that, I will just say basically it's like this. So I take, for each matching, I take the value corresponding to it, so I get the letter in matches, right? And from there I have each, so if I do it if I go back to my Python console here, so I have this list here, or matches, let's call it. Now I have the matches like this, and let's say I'm just going to take the map that we had earlier, right? So now M gives us the same mapping that we have here. So if I do mx like this for x in matches, you could see I get this the characters, right? And so now all that is left is just so let's call this chars. I can just join them, right, with an empty string to get them as a word, as a string, like the problem wants. And so that way I could just get them like this. And so that's all we need to do, is just take this, join it with an empty string, and we'll pretty much be done, and return that instead, right? And submit this, and that also passes. Okay, so a different way we could also do the mapping is like this. So I just want to give you different solutions so that you could see, just get used to different ways of doing things. So here, this construction here, as I said, that we can use the ASCII lowercase. So I'm just going to say, okay, our chars are string dot ASCII lowercase. So that would mean we need to import string, right? And one thing we can do here is we want, so if I say all the characters here are string.ascii lowercase, lowercase. So you can see here it's all the characters, right? Now if I get, so I know that A corresponds to 1, all these 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, all these characters should correspond from 1 to 9, right? So basically these, to obtain them, I could just do the 9 first characters, right? And now I could just zip this with 1 to 9 numbers and get each number paired with the characters that it corresponds to. So the way to do that is just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and give the first 9 characters, right? Like this. And if I convert this to a list so that you can see the pairing, so you can see 1 is A paired with A, 2 paired to B, 3 paired to C. Okay, now all I need is to convert this to a map to have the mapping for the first 9 characters, right? And so to do that, I just can do dict here, and that converts it to a mapping, right? So now 1 is mapped to A, 2 to B. So I have the first 9 ones, right? So I can just put this in a map. So let me just put this here. Now the second step is I need the rest. I need the rest of the characters from J to Z, right? So these also, all we need is take the number from 10 to 26 and add the hashtag, right? To do that, in Python there is this thing where we can do, so we can say put whatever is going to be formatted inside the brackets here and follow that with the hashtag, and then format, so like this, and then format, let's say 10 for example. So you can see it puts 10 here and puts the hashtag, right? And now I could just use this, right? And say format X for X in, I want from 10 to 26. And so from 10, and in Python to get 26, you have to go one number above, so 27. And that will give me from 10 hashtag to 26 hashtag. So now I have the number. I just need, in the same way that I paired them here with zip, I need to pair them the same way to pair these numbers, right? And so to get all the numbers after, so first we used this to get the first 9 characters, right, from chars. So to get the rest, we can just do from 9 onwards, right? And that we get from G to Z, and now we can pair this with these numbers. So I could just go here and zip those with the characters, right, from 9, so I get the rest. Now you can see if I convert this to a list, so again you can see the pairing. So 10 hashtag correspond to G, 26 hashtag correspond to Z, and you get the idea. So we have the rest of the pairing. So now again, same way to convert this to a dictionary, because we want the mapping to be keys are the numbers and characters are the values. So not zip, sorry, dict. So you can see now I have them as a map. So now I have both for this and for the first 9 numbers that we did here. So I could just update my map here that has the first 9 with this new thing to get the rest, right? So to do that, in Python you could update a map like this, and I could just update it with the new, with the rest of the values, right? So now I have my map ready. I could just use this to get the matches, right? And so let's run this. It's string. Okay, looks good. Let's submit. So that also passes, right? One additional thing we can do is if I go back to the, so instead of doing the map here, we can do something more clever. So let's say I have the matches here, right? Now I don't have the map, right? But I need to convert. So to do that, there is this thing where, so basically if I have, let's say, int of 2, let's say of 1, let's say I have 1. So basically there is this ORed A that can give me, that I can add, so that if I convert it to character, I can get back the one of these characters. Let me give an example. So let's say, for example, for 9, where I should get I. So if I do 9 plus ORed A, and convert that to a character, you can see I get G, so I get just the letter afterwards. Why is that? Because our mapping started from 1 instead of starting from 0. And so what I can do to adapt this to my mapping is just subtract 1. And now you could see, by just adding the number to ORed of A, the value of ORed of A, I get the exact character I need. So I don't need actually the mapping. Let me just take another example. So if I take 10, you can see I get G. If I take 11, I will get K. If I take 12, I will get the number after that. And if I take, let's say, 3, I will get C. And so it works without needing a map, just by doing these calculations of characters. And so to do that, instead of doing this M here, using the map here, what I can do is just, well, take the character the same way that I did here, and add the, basically the number, so convert the string, the part of the string here, for example, 10 hashtag, I will need to convert it. And so remember the matching here, if I go back to, so matches contain these here. So for each of them, I can just take the 2 first characters, right? If there are 2 characters, because otherwise I'll just get the first one. What do I mean by that? So so for matches here, if I say, let's say take for X, take the first characters, the first 2 characters for X in matches. So you can see matches are like this. So you can see it strips hashtag, and the other one, it leaves them as they are. So we have the exact thing that we want for these to work, right? And so I could just go from that and do the exact same thing I did here, which is say character plus ORed of A minus 1, right? There is something missing. Yeah, I need to convert. So basically, you could see here, if I go back, this gives me strings, right? So I need to convert them to int values so that my adding there works. So I convert them to int, and now if I go back here and do int, now you can see it gets me the a list of the characters that are correct, right? And so from there I could just do the same join that I did earlier, and I will get the string, right? So no need for the map. And so to do that here, I need int of s, the same thing we did here. Take the 2 first characters, and so that gives us the int, add ORed of A, and do -1 to have a mapping that starts from 1, and pretty much that's all there is to it. Okay, we have a problem. So yeah, it's not S here, it's X. That's the match, right? Okay, so it looks good. Even to make it a one-liner, if you want, you could just put this in matches here instead of having a variable, and that will still work. Cool. Now let's submit this, and that also passes. Okay. So yeah, we saw different solution for this, different ways of doing each part of the solution. And yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.